Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews, and this is Generation X Politics. And this video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. Hi, Ollie. I left a PayPal contribution. I hope this helps with your channel being demonetized. Please keep me anonymous for this story. I love the new direction of the channel. Please keep up the good work on exposing these narcissists in society and politics. It seems like the more you learn about narcissism, the more it explains everything that has gone wrong in our country and in the world in general. Boy, don't it. Learning about narcissism has helped me understand my childhood and to realize my parents have serious emotional issues and raised a scapegoat and a golden child. I've been in denial for a long time about my family of origin. My brother is very narcissistic. He still lives at home at the age of 42 and is very immature at times. At times, he still lives at home at 42. We could just leave it at immature. My mother still does his laundry and cooks all his meals. Geez, boy, does this sound familiar to my... Sounds familiar, that's all I'm going to say. My mother still does his laundry and cooks all his meals. When they go out to eat, he has to go with them and dictates the restaurant they go to. He only likes meat and potatoes, so they can never go to a Chinese restaurant or a Mexican restaurant. He pouts when others do not do things his way. An example of this is his ongoing feud with the preacher at the church because my brother wants to be the only one who knows how to run the sound system and won't teach anyone else. There's nothing that... Oh, he's one of these. He's one of these. He knows how to run a couple RCA lines. A sound system is not difficult. It's not difficult to run whatsoever at all. He had a learning disability growing up, so my parents coddled him. I was an honor student, but my parents didn't make a big deal out of it because they said they didn't want to compare him to me and hurt his feelings. He dropped out of community college and now drives a truck. He has never saved money and spent it over the years on four-wheelers, $40,000 pickup trucks, radios, guns, etc. Recently, he got married. I thought he's still living at home. He's living at home with his new wife at 42? Who married him? Recently, he got married, and he and his new bride are living upstairs in my parents' house because they don't have any money to build a house or to move out somewhere else. I'm not sure my brother wants to move anywhere else because he still gets the benefits of my mother cooking and cleaning for him, and he gets to live rent-free in his bedroom. Like, could you imagine banging your wife in your childhood bedroom at 42? While your mommy cooks for you? I mean, it's one thing, I guess if you go home for Christmas and you go back, like that, you're visiting, like... So I'm talking about Gen Xers refusing to fucking grow up. And what was his learning disability? What was his learning disability? Please. Doesn't stop him from buying $40,000 pickup trucks, though, and guns. That learning doesn't do... Does his learning disability, these learning disabilities on these types, they never actually stop them from doing the things they want to do, does it? Does it? The disability only comes around when it's a convenience to them, when they don't have to be accountable for something. At first, I liked my brother's fiancée, now wife. She seemed to go out of her way to be nice to everyone, but there was always something off about her story. Now I have started to wonder if she is a covert narcissist. She's something. Who would marry a 42-year-old man and move into the parents' house? She's obviously something. I was married to one for many years, and it's hard for people to recognize covert narcissists. I may be way off base, but now she snaps at me in conversation or argues over things. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells around her, and I have to watch what I say. An example of things not being quite right started when they got engaged. She lived at home with her mother about an hour and a half away. Like, come on, man. You're not seeing these red flags here? This is red flag city. After meeting her mother once, I realized how dramatic and narcissistic her mother was, and I felt sorry for my brother's fiance. It seemed like she was the scapegoat in her family, the way her mother treated her. Almost immediately after the engagement, she quit her job and moved in with my brother and parents. The reason for quitting her job was strange. She claimed that she was going to get fired anyway because her boss said she spent too much time in the restroom on weeks she was on her period, and she wanted her to plan better on the weeks she was menstruating. So she's another drama queen. So she's another fucking drama queen at work, causing problems. That's why. Histrionic, borderline. I'm not, based on what you're telling me about her mother, this woman's a borderline. Is a histrionic borderline. Also, she had lost her driver's license because she had got a speeding ticket a few months earlier and hired a lawyer who sent her an advertisement in the mail. According to her, the lawyer never showed up in court for the ticket, and then when she got into a fender bender after that, the cops saw her failure to appear and she lost her license for 6 months. Now, why wouldn't she go? The notice is for her to appear in court, not the lawyer. The lawyer is supposed to be with her. She's supposed to go to court. See, another one doesn't want to take responsibility for anything. Her and your brother are fucking perfect for each other. Perfect for each other. Now she was living with my brother and parents with no job, no car, no license. She drove my mother crazy because every time my mother got in her car to run errands, she had to tag along to have her drop her off at the nail salon or the hair salon or Walmart. She claimed she was actively looking for a job, but she went on multiple job interviews with no job. Well, where was she getting her money for their nails or hair and Walmart? She and my brother continued to plan the wedding, but her mother stated she could not help pay for the wedding. Of course, they couldn't plan a simple wedding at home. My brother insisted they have a wedding at a resort several hours away. This wedding was expensive with hotels and food, and this was also the height of the COVID-19, so many places were closed. My brother started selling off his large toys he had accumulated over the years in order to pay for this wedding. Why didn't he sell them off to go fucking live somewhere else? She kept complaining she couldn't find a job. I finally told her that I could help her get a job in my hospital as a CNA. I work as an ER nurse, and she had been a CNA in the past, and we were desperate for nursing assistants. She agreed and renewed her certificate and got a job working on the 3rd floor. At first, she seemed to like the job and was giving it 100%. They always do for the credit, and then it falls off real quick. Then after a couple weeks, she stated she hated the job. She would call in sick when she really wasn't sick. Some nights she would come home from work and run upstairs crying. Yet she's a histrionic drama queen who doesn't want to do anything. She doesn't want to work. She don't want to do anything. She don't want to be responsible for a goddamn thing. Much like your brother. She claimed she was being bullied by the other nursing assistants. I'm starting to wonder if she was really being bullied or if this is just a narcissistic behavior pattern of wanting to gain sympathy. It's the latter. It's the latter. It's the histrionic borderline personality disorder. She had a run-in with the nursing manager, and that is when I realized she does not take criticism well, and she acts like she is the smartest person in the room. Borderline. She was assigned to watch a psych patient that was getting medical treatment on the 3rd floor. Some of these patients are violent, suicidal, or homicidal and have to be watched for their protection and the protection of the staff. Policy at the hospital states that when you are watching a patient, the door to the room must be open so other staff can see you and you sit in the doorway. She was sitting at the bedside with this violent patient and had the door closed. The nurse manager came into the room and told her it was an unsafe practice. From the story my sister-in-law told me, she claimed that the nurse manager was rude to her and that she had the situation under control. Yeah, your sister-in-law doesn't like to take orders. She doesn't want to be told anything from anybody, boss included. You may not like it, but that is your boss. You do what your fucking boss tells you. If your boss tells you you're doing something wrong, then you're doing it wrong, no matter what you think. But this is what the histrionic borderline doesn't understand. No, you're bullying me. They're going to use this as an opportunity to pull off their histrionic bullshit. There was no way the patient could have harmed her, in that she had built a rapport with the patient that no one else could get them to take their medicine. She also said that sitting within arm's length of the patient was not an unsafe practice, and she could get out of the way if the patient tried to get her. When I heard this story, I told her that our manager was trying to ensure her safety and that my manager is one of the best bosses I have ever had. I explained to her the policy is there for a reason. We have had nurses attacked before in the ER, and one nurse nearly died being strangled by a psych patient. I said you don't turn your back on these people, and they could be very manipulative, making you think that you are the only one that understands them, or you are the only one they can trust. Antisocial personality disorder, NPD or BPD, are some of the most dangerous ones, right? But a borderline thinks they can control anybody. The borderline thinks they can mentally maneuver anybody. They think they can mentally manipulate anybody, even a psych patient. This is why they're so dangerous. Because their own grandiosity puts them in danger. They don't even realize the borderline. You're trying to mentally manipulate a dangerous psych patient. That's the borderline. They are smart at times and know what to say to manipulate you in a dangerous situation. She insisted she knew what she was doing and then ran upstairs and cried because I invalidated her feelings. Because she's a borderline. She's a borderline herself. The borderline thinks she can manipulate anybody. She said she felt like she had made a difference in that person's life and I had taken that all away. Borderline. Histrionics. All of it. All of it. Boy, is your brother in for a world of hurt. After that incident, I tried to watch what I said around her, but for some reason, I seemed to upset her. An example of this was the day before the wedding. I was a bridesmaid, and the other bridesmaids had started a Facebook chat. On the chat, the other bridesmaids were confused about the rehearsal. The church in this resort was booked solid the day before the wedding. So because of COVID, we had to have the rehearsal at my parents' rental house. Other bridesmaids kept talking about meeting at the church for the rehearsal. I told them several times that was incorrect, but they were adamant the rehearsal was at the church. I told my brother I needed to make sure the groomsmen and the preacher knew to meet at the house and not the church. She immediately called her sister to clear things up. Later that day, I asked her if they were all straight. She snapped at me and said, "The only one who was confused was you. They knew to meet at the house." I said, "No, they thought they were meeting at the church." I then showed her the conversation on Facebook, and she slams her coffee cup down and ran upstairs, slamming the bedroom door. Yes, this woman is a full-bore fucking borderline, a dangerous one too. The type that puts you in a fucking world of hurt. The one who makes every event, and this is her wedding, so the wedding should be about her, but this is a woman who's going to make every event thereafter about her, with her fucking histrionics, her acting out, her rage, her running upstairs. Shut up. World of hurt. Obviously your parents have money. She's in it for the money. She's in it for the money, like your brother. My brother followed her, and then they came back down and asked my mother to come upstairs. My mom came back down a few minutes later and said she's up there crying, and your brother told me to fix it. I couldn't get her to stop crying. Fuck off. Ugh. Then cry. Then cry at your wedding. You're going to cry for your wedding? That's what you do. You want to act like this? Then you want to come down blubbering at your own wedding? Go ahead. Should have stopped like that. Because what she really cared about was being the center of attention. And goddamn, she wasn't going to give up the next day. I promise you that. I promise you that. I told my mom he's about to be a married man and he can't handle his wife. Why is he asking his mommy to come help him with his wife? She told me to apologize to her. I told her it was out of the question, but I would go talk to her instead. When I got in the room, she was crying dramatically with her head in the crook of her arm like a silent movie star. This is what you got to deal with these borderline histrionics. This is why they are monsters, not they're monsters. Could you? Well, a fucking grown-ass woman. Are you serious? That's when you get a nice big bucket of ice water and you dump it on her head. Like, psh, snap out of it. Child, can you imagine this? Blubbering. And this is what you got to fucking deal with this woman at the draw. This woman does this if she has a bad day at work. This woman does this if you tell her the friggin', could have used more salt. Could have used more salt. This is what you got to deal with. These histrionics. How many pets does she have, by the way? A lot, I bet. Or she will at some point. She in the pet rescues. I recognized this behavior from my former mother-in-law, who would cry at the drop of a hat to get her way. My sister-in-law only raised her head for a brief moment to say, "This is supposed to be the happiest day of my life, and you just won't let things go." I told her I was just trying to make sure the rehearsal went off without a hitch, and I understood that the weddings can make people a little crazy and stressed out. When she lifted her head, I didn't actually see any tears or evidence that she had been crying. But my brother was buying this act. Oh, the the crying with no tears, too. She's checking every borderline box, isn't she? When her whole family showed up that night, I realized from their behavior that she had learned to act this way in her family to get attention. Most of them were very dramatic. I learned her little brother, who was only 12, has put a knife to his throat in order to get a PlayStation for Christmas. Her mother and cousin got into a shouting match in the driveway of the rental home, and he finally got out of the car and shouted that he would walk back to the hotel. She followed along for a few feet until he got back into the car. The day of the wedding, they crashed the Honeymoon rental house for 2 hours after the wedding. My brother and his new wife were in their bedroom changing clothes when they started knocking at the door. She had given them the code to the door. My brother was fit to be tied when it was his honeymoon night, and after they left, he got in the car and drove him and his new bride to my parents' rental house. They had still not consummated as far as we knew, and they were headed to dinner. He wanted to stop by and complain. I remember thinking, what the hell are you doing here on your wedding night complaining to us? It would be funny if it wasn't so sad, and it seems like he is still codependent with my parents. I was married to a narcissist and his whole crazy narcissistic family for years before I got out, and it was deja vu. Like I said, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells with this person now. She snaps at me on a regular basis, claims she hates her job but has to keep working because she has bought a new car. She bought the car right after her first week on the job. I think my brother helped her with the down payment. She has her license now, but there is always some story about how she is being persecuted by the Social Security office with trying to change her name or the DMV because you have to get an appointment. Fucking lazy. See what I went through with my ex-wife, too. She's like, oh, I'm just going to hyphenate my name because I don't want to have to go here and get, like, well, you can hyphenate your address thing, too. She comes home late from work every night, but still expects my mother to cook a meal for her and have it ready when she gets home. Sometimes it's 8 p.m. before she, my brother, and parents will eat dinner. Sometimes she runs errands before coming home or stays on the phone in the car in the driveway with her mother, arguing before coming inside. Oh, shit. Recently, she snapped at me when a recipe was making she was making for macaroni and cheese didn't turn out right. When I suggested she try a different recipe, she yelled at me. It was from copycat recipes, so it's the right one. I just don't know, Ollie. Maybe I'm way off base and she isn't a narcissist. What are you, insane? Are you blind? She's a borderline. She's a horrible, horrible borderline monster. Maybe she's stressed out. Maybe she's stressed being a new bride and living with her in-laws. I don't know how to handle her other than to keep my mouth shut around her so I won't offend her and just not engage. It was the way I survived for so long in the narcissistic marriage with the narc in-laws. Everything I said was taken out of context. I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, but I think my brother has married a covert narcissist. Thank you again for reading my story, and any advice you can give me on keeping the peace and my own sanity would be welcome. Sincerely, Anonymous. Okay, there is no keeping the peace. You have allowed a borderline monster into the family because your brother has his own narcissistic issues because he's the big fucking man baby. I'm sure that there's a lot you're not telling me that we haven't gotten into about him. Okay? Look. Without knowing the backstory of your parents, I'm going to take it that maybe your parents are pretty normal. Your brother got that way somehow. Okay? But as far as she goes, if you're not going to just keep her out of your life, okay? If you're not going to keep this borderline out of your life, there's only one way to fucking deal with her. Is to call her right on her shit. When she's doing it. When she's doing it, you're gonna cry. You're gonna cry. You're gonna cry. Let me see some real fucking tears. Because if you're gonna cry, let's see them. You cry, baby. Little cry, baby, gonna cry because she doesn't get her way. That's what you got to do. It's the only way you're going to keep your sanity because you are not going to keep the peace around with a borderline. You are not. They will not allow it. She will not allow it. Until somebody stands up to her and says, knock off we're not reacting to your histrionic bullshit, your tearless cries, your carrying on, your booty hooty hoo. You're gonna cry. That's what you do. Like I tell you, come on, cry for me, cry baby, cry for me. That's what you got to do. Sounds horrible and mean, but it's not, because you are dealing with a monster. You're dealing with a monster. You have to accept it. There is no keeping the peace. If you're not going to cut him out, if you're not going to cut her out, there's no keeping the peace. So the only thing you can do, well, you're going to keep your mouth shut. Don't matter. She's going to look for the next opportunity to make the event about her, no matter what it is. She will do this, whether she's living there or not. Even if they go and get to the day where they move out, every holiday, every birthday, every event where they're there, she's going to pull this shit. She's going to pull some event where she's crying, she's pissed, she's running, she's slamming doors. Oh, go apologize to her. Fuck that. No. You get right in her face. You're going to cry, baby. You're going to cry. Come on, let's have a good one. Little baby, you're going to cry. Come on, let's see some real ones. Maybe you'll actually see a real fucking tear. Because until you stop acknowledging the behavior and accepting the behavior and letting her get away with that behavior and pushing back and calling it out hard, it's going to continue. Because there you will never, ever, ever have peace with a borderline. Period. Get it through. Know it. Learn it. Accept it. Accept it. It's just the way it is. So, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution and your story, Anonymous. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like me to expose, you'd like to set up a phone call, Skype, have a private video made, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. This channel is completely demonetized from YouTube by Google, so without you, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Generation X Politics. Take care.